So yesterday, guys, we were doing the solve by factoring, right? We started with, let's say this first one, we had x squared plus x minus 90. And we just did a warm up like this. You guys did very well. We want to factor that. So we have x and x, of course, and then we listed factors of 90. And then we have to choose from those factors of 90 that will add up to give us 1. And so therefore, the 9 and 10 were our choice, where we did x minus 9 times x plus 10, and then set both of those equal to 0, and then solve them. So our answers were that x equals positive 9 and negative 10. Okay, so that was solving by factoring. Well, today we are also going to be solving, but the problems will be a little bit different. So let's again write in here. We are going to solve proportions. I'm going to draw a line, and we are going to solve proportions. Now, when we do this, some of them will be factoring problems and some will not. So let's start with what I'll call a simple proportion. And we have a proportion is when you have two fractions set equal to each other. Like if we had 9 over x is equal to 3 over 8. Okay, that's a proportion because we have two fractions set equal to each other. All right, well, here is what we do. Is we are going to put an equal sign underneath there. And we're going to multiply across. So I'm going to do these two multiplied together. And then I'm going to do these two multiplied together and put them on opposite sides of the equals. Okay, so the first one, when I do these two multiplied together, I get 3x. Okay, 3 times x is 3x. And then when I cross the other one, I do 9 times 8, which is 72. And so I have 3x equals 72. And a really common mistake is that people forget the equal sign. Okay, we need that to make sure we have a solution, we solve it. All right, once we get to there, this is not bad. We just divide by 3. Divide by 3, those cancel. So we get x equals. Well, let's see. I know that 3 goes into 60 20 times. And 72 is like 60 and 12. So 3 goes into 12 4 times. So if I divide those, I get x equals 24. And you guys can use your calculators, of course. All right, so right next to that, I'm going to have you guys do this one. Would you please do x over 12 is equal to 3 over 2. All right, solve that proportion, please. All right, so you guys did well here. So we are going to cross multiply. So I will do 12 times 3. Oh, I forgot to put my equal sign. I do 12 times 3, which is 36. And I also, the other way, I do x times 2, which of course is 2x. And then I divide by 2 on both sides, and x equals 18. Now notice that when I had my equation right here, you know, some of you had that flip-flop, 2x equals 36. Perfectly fine, same thing, right? We get the same answer either way. All right, we good with that so far? Any questions? All right, well then, let me throw one a little harder at you. Let's say we do now x minus 6 over x plus 9 is equal to 5 over 8. So we have x minus 6 over x plus 9 is equal to 5 over 8. Again, it's a proportion. So I'm going to set my equal sign down here and do the same process. So I will cross multiply first. So I'll do 5 times x plus 9. But here's what I can't forget to do. I do 5 and then parentheses x plus 9. Okay, because I'm doing 5 times that whole thing in parentheses. I'm also going to cross multiply the other way. So I'm going to do 8 and then parentheses x minus 6. Okay, so be careful that you remember those parentheses when we cross multiply. Really common to forget those. All right, so now that we're here, now we want to solve using, our regular algebra skills. Yes. No. Yeah. All right, so when we distribute, I'm going to get 5x plus 45. Okay, because remember you have a number in front of the parenthesis you want to distribute, right? And on the right side, I have 8x minus 48. 8 times 6 is 48. All right, so to do this, there's no squared term, right? So let's get our x's on one side. So I'll subtract 8x from both sides. And 5x minus 8x is negative 3x plus 45 is equal to negative 48. And then I'll subtract 45 from both sides. So I have negative 3x is equal to negative 93. And divide and we're done. So negative divided by negative will be positive. 3 into 93. Remember, 3 goes into 9 twice, and 3 goes into 3 once. And so we get x equals 21. 31. Thank you. 31. All right, you ready to try one? All right, how about if you guys try this? I'll write it next to it so we can use that as kind of our model. 5x plus 4 over 3 is equal to x plus 9 over 2. So would you guys solve that? But before I turn you loose to solve it, I am going to warn you. The answer is not a nice number. It's ugly. Okay. You're going to get a fraction. If you do so, you're perfectly fine. Don't be freaked out by that. So you're going to need your calculators. You're welcome to come grab one if you'd like, or use them on your iPads. Okay. All right. Give that one a shot. All right, here we go. We are going to set our equal sign down. And I'm going to cross multiply. I will first do 3, and then in parentheses, x plus 9. I put that on one side of the equal sign. And then the other side, I'm going to do 2 times 5x plus 4. So there is our setup. Now I want to distribute. So I get 3x plus 27 on the left-hand side. And on the right side, I get 10x plus 8. Now I'll get my x's on one side, my numbers on the other. So I'll subtract 10x from both sides. So 3 minus 10, if I start at 3 and go to the left 10, that puts me at negative 7x plus 27 is equal to 8. And then I'll subtract 27 from both sides. I know many of you do that all in one step, which is perfectly fine. So on the left side, I have negative 7x. And on the right side, if I start at positive 8 and go to the left 27, that puts me at negative 19. And then I divide by negative 7 on both sides. And now, lots of you got to this point, but don't forget a negative divided by negative is positive. And you can leave your answer as just a fraction there. You don't need to divide it and get a decimal approximation. Just leave it as a fraction if you get that, okay? All right, you guys are doing great, but now we're going to amp it up one more time. So here we go. This will be the last kind of problem, but I think you'll see in a moment why it's a little different. Let's say we had x plus 1 over x plus 5 equals 3 over x. Okay, x plus 1 over x plus 5 is equal to 3 over x. Looks the same. Our process is going to be the same. We're going to cross multiply just like before. So I am going to do 3. I'll put my equal sign. 3 times x plus 5. Okay, so I cross multiply. And then on the other side, I have x times x plus 1. So our process is still the same. We're just cross multiplying. But when we distribute, I think you'll see something happen here. On the left side, I get 3x plus 15. On the right side, I have x times x is x squared plus x. So remember, when we had squared, that's going to turn into a factoring problem. So let me keep rolling with this. I'm going to move everything to the right-hand side. So I'll do minus 3x and minus 3x and minus 15 and minus 15. Okay, so now I have 0 on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side, I get x squared, and x minus 3x is minus 2x minus 15. Okay, so I moved all the terms to the right side. So I took this 3x, I moved it over there by subtracting 3x. I took that 15, I moved it over there by subtracting 15. And so I get x squared minus 2x minus 15. And that is one of those factoring problems. So I have x and x, and I need factors of 15. So either 1 and 15 or 3 and 5. But remember, I have to get negative 2 from them. So that's going to be a positive 3 and a negative 5. So that factors into x plus 3 times x minus 5. And then I set them both equal to 0 to get my two solutions. So on the left-hand side, I get x equals -3. And on the right-hand side, I get x equals 5. So this is the merger of both worlds. We have the factoring stuff that we worked on before incorporated in one of these proportion problems. Yes. Yeah. You can move it to the left. That would be perfectly fine. What, and to answer your question, she said, why did I move everything over here to the right? I did that so that my x squared was positive. And if you moved it to the left, it'd be negative x squared. You could do that and then divide everything by -1 and make it positive. It just would be one more step, but you would get the same answers. Good question. All right, your turn, guys. I'm going to put one up that's kind of similar. Let's use that as a model. If you guys would please do this one. X minus 7 over x minus 4 is equal to 2 over x. Okay, this is as hard as they get. So if you get this, you are in great shape. Give that one a shot. Here we go, guys. So to do this, I'm going to set my equal sign down and I'm going to cross multiply. I'll do 2 times x minus 4. And then I'm going to cross multiply here, x times x minus 7. And so everybody got to here, which is great. We want to distribute. So on the left side, I have 2x minus 8. And on the right side, I have x squared minus 7x. Now, some of you guys have those two sides flip-flop, which is perfectly fine, okay? So I'm going to move my stuff to the right, again, to keep my x squared positive. So I'll subtract 2x from both sides. And I'll add 8 to both sides. So on the left side, I have 0. And on the right side, I have x squared minus 9x plus 8. And now it's a factoring problem. So I have my x and x. My factors of 8 are 1 and 8 or 2 and 4. But knowing that I have to get -9, I'm going to choose the 1 and the 8 because if they're both negative, that gives me -9. So it factors into x minus 1 times x minus 8. Then you set them both equal to 0. And we solve them. And so we get x equals 1. Or x equals 8.